Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth and welcome back. Thank you for being here. I wanted to bring you guys a weekly garden tour and start out really quick over here by the pool because things are growing. And I also want to say I'm filming this on Monday today when you're going to see it. Look at this. Oh my goodness. This one in the middle here is getting so tall. And just everything is growing really well. And we've got, I noticed this from the back door, this canna starting to bloom for the first time. This sweet potato vine went over here and went under the deck, through the deck. And look at this. How funny. I also wanted to mention it is 72 glorious degrees outside right now, you guys. My hair is like half wet because I just got out of the shower a bit ago. But anyways, finally, like a cold front moved through. So they're projecting, you know, that we'll be, our highs for the next week, I think, are just going to be like low to mid 80s, which will be fabulous. And so I'm really excited. A lot of the plants have been really stressed from this insane heat that we've had. We've been watering daily, but sometimes if we forgot to water like every day, you see the plants really struggle. Over here, these guys are beautiful. Look at this. Got bees on them. We've got buds just about to open. This guy, I love this color variety so much. Good morning, bee. Got a slight breeze this morning, so everything's kind of swaying in the breeze. It's gorgeous. Still got some things struggling here in the front bed, primarily these hostas. They do this every year. I may eventually try to kind of like phase them out because it frustrates me every year this time of year. I have added several other perennials, like this purple shrub here and this sedum. So we'll see. Dog's over there chasing cats. This is looking beautiful. This is looking a little sad because when we water in the kitchen garden daily, we don't always water this landscape bed because it's mostly established perennials. Oh my gosh, look, my Mexican petunia is blooming for the first time. These are rated as annuals, even in my zone, but I put these guys in like 3 years ago and they come back every year for me. So I really love that. Alright, so here's what's going on in the kitchen garden. We've done a few things over here. Oh, the hummingbirds are back there. I don't know if you guys could see them. They're always out in the morning. So what I was saying before with the heat, that we've had some things struggling. You can, when I get on the other side of the cucumbers, you can see where they're trying to die. I'm sure everything is super happy for the coolness last night and this morning. I need to pick some of these as soon as I'm done. Last time I picked them was maybe 4 days ago, and I've waited to let these guys get bigger. Let's see. Oh, so I'll go over here and show you guys this. My husband got the hose pieces. He just used one of our old hoses and made a new end for it so that my box could be over here where I wanted it. Yay. And then there's like 18-inch long like nail things driven into the ground, and you can see them right there. So it doesn't move when you're using it, and it's where I wanted it, which is fantastic. Okay, so here on this side you can see the cucumbers suffering. I've not picked a cucumber in a bit, but again, like I said in that last video, we're pretty surprised that these are still even doing anything, because the ones out in the full sun garden have been dead for like almost 2 weeks now. So I did finally get some bell peppers off of these peppers over here and staked them, and I'm just kind of waiting to see if they'll do anything else. You can see we've got a baby one right there. So anyways, I'm thinking I should pull the stevia out. It makes me nervous. Let me tell you why. Because I planted perennial herbs all over our property in the case of like an end of the world scenario where like I need medicinal herbs to treat my family's ailments, like if you can't get things anywhere else. And so I have a ton dried and stored and salves made and stuff like that. So I saved stevia because it's a natural sweetener. I did do a video on my old channel where the first year that I grew this, I harvested the stevia, I think it was the leaves, yeah, and I made stevia extract. We tried it, none of us really liked it, but I kept the plant, and I also still have the stevia extract, as, you know, in case of an emergency. You never know. So that kind of makes me not want to tear it out, but then at the same time, this bed gets a great amount of sunlight to grow peppers and stuff, and so I feel like it's just taking up that space. Over here, this guy's doing good. I need to pull him up and transplant him where I want him to live, which is going to be back over here by the fence by this yellow flower. Our little mini giant sunflowers are growing well, which is wonderful. I also still need to get these blackberries in the ground, and I legit still have gladiola bulbs on the ground. But anyways, this is probably the most fun thing going on right now, is the Kajari melon vine. Because the melons are growing. Alright, so here's one of our first ones, and I guess it's kind of blocked out, not getting a lot of sun because it's not growing as fast as this newer one. This is how big it is, the size of my palm. Which I think, here's a bigger one, so this is probably like the full size they get. They're done when they change a certain color, but they're doing really well. And here's a baby. There's another baby, lots of babies. And let's see over here. We've got some tomatoes finally turning. This bunch of tomatoes here have been growing very quickly and putting on a decent amount of like flowers and tomatoes, but they take forever to turn. This right here, all twisted around the edge here, is our Chinese noodle bean. And this is our first ever flower I just found. Oh, and here's one. Oh my goodness. And here's one. Look how pretty. Oh my goodness. So here's one. So they're just barely starting. I'm afraid they're going to at some point get really wrapped up in this tomato, where I can't separate the two when it's time to pull out the tomatoes, but I guess I'll just worry about that later. I guess I could just cut them all out if I had to. They're pretty much going to be using the tomatoes as a vine, because there's another one down here and it goes up that way. Yeah, as long as they can get enough sunlight, I guess it'll be okay. But happy to see. So like this is one of those tomato arms like that you just don't need. So I could come over here, prune this off, and this will open up some sunlight to this spot right here where we've got some of these flowers. I just don't have any of my tools with me this morning. Let's see, was there anything else on this side? Okay, we saw all that, looking good. This over here all still looks cute. You can see I've still got some bags of mulch out that I need to basically just finish this area right here. Like I said, this is a Monday and I did not do any gardening projects this weekend because of something that we did Friday, which I'll tell you at the end of this video. And then Saturday, what did we do Saturday? I don't remember. Maybe we were just really tired from all the doing all throughout the week. But Sunday we did like a family day trip. And we went to Blanchard Springs Caverns, which is between Mountain View and 56 Arkansas. And it's pretty awesome. We did a cave tour and we went and hiked to a waterfall. And went and saw the spring where it shoots out of the side of a mountain. Like, I think they said like 7,000 gallons per minute or something. Wild. This was a very educational tour. My husband and I have done the tour 3 times. And like 2 or 3 of our kids have done it sporadically with us over the years. But this is the first time we went and we took all 4 of our youngest. And the first time our youngest had ever seen it. And it was a really great educational guided tour, which is great. We both learned stuff we'd never heard before. So anyway, that was a super fun experience. We spent all day doing that. And so we just didn't work outside. It's just been really, really hot. It's been like 103 to 105 the last week in Arkansas. And the real feel was like over like 112. So it was horrible. So just watering things was pretty much the most that we were worried about doing. Okay, here's how the corkscrew willow is doing. It's surviving just fine. I don't know what changes we can help to see the rest of the year, so we're just kind of keep an eye on it. And the sink over there still looks exactly how I left it. And it has rained a couple times and the sheet looks totally fine. Over here, this is my black-eyed Susan shrub. It's gone through some trouble and some shock, which is fine and to be expected. And then this over here, my purple fountain grass. The cats love this plant. I guess because it's like wispy. But you can see they've kind of thrown the mulch away from around it. So I need to fix that, but they're just total pains in the butt. They love that plant. And this perennial hibiscus is doing great. It's bloomed numerous times, and I'm tickled for it. The most I would hope to see the rest of the growing season is just so that it gets a little bigger. However, this is one we will prune back all the way to the ground at the end of the year. So that doesn't really matter. It would just look cool. Over here, we've got our hummingbird stuff on the side of the house and the new frame that my husband did, which I'm going to paint it white to match the other windows. Here's our other hollyhock. I don't think this one has bloomed yet, but it's growing nicely, so I'm happy about that. And this poor little hosta does this every year. Burns up like that. Let's see. Over here, let's get in the shade a little bit. This is one of the two plants you guys saw me plant in one of the last videos. And the yellow one actually did struggle a bit, so we watered it very heavily for like numerous days in a row. She's finally doing good. She actually dropped a lot of her yellow petals, and now she's put on some new ones, which is great. So I'm loving this arrangement. And this is where I want that other purple flower to go, and the blackberries will go here. Over here, it looks like the vinca, the little flowers on the bottom. This one is trying to die completely, and this one is okay. They struggled a lot when we first put them in. The caladium, it looks great. She's thriving. Here's our strawberry watermelon. We got some growing over here off the side. Oh my gosh, look, you guys, it's a watermelon. How fun. Let's see if that's the only one. Oh my gosh, look, this right here is a volunteer potato. Here, so is this one. They're like, I guess fall potatoes really want to grow right now. Show you why in a minute. Several blooms here, so we may end up with some, but that's exciting just to have one, honestly. Okay, so when I talked about volunteer potatoes, look at these guys. Look at these two. How big they're getting. It's wild. They're huge. The cannas, they never missed a lick when I transplanted them. They're just happy. Happy to be here. And here are some potatoes. Let's see. So, this over here, this was one of my, what was that called? I'm not going to remember because I moved it and now that kind of throws me off. But, it was struggling when I transplanted it. So, but it's a perennial, so I'm hoping it'll just kind of maybe spend the rest of the growing season putting some roots in, maybe put a couple leaves on, and we'll see if it bounces back next year. This red rose that's here is doing pretty good. It's covered in spider webs, which I'm pretty sure that's a bad thing for roses, so I need to get that off, but it's got a little bud here and a little bud here, and it's still growing. You can see when they've got these little red leaves on them that they're brand new leaves, so that's wonderful. And I believe I recall in previous years that my roses always pop off in the fall. Like, they love the fall weather, because we typically will like get rain and go a few days without, get rain, go a few days without. And roses, they love that rain, but they need a day or two of sun to push new blooms. So they need the water to push the blooms, but then they need no water to actually really get the bloom out there. If it rained for like a week straight, the roses wouldn't bloom, because they just need a few days of just sunshine to really like push that and open up. So we tend to have that sort of weather in the fall, so they usually go through a growth spurt again, bloom a ton, all right before they end up dying back in November. Still loving this little combination here of this hosta and this guy. And you know, it kind of makes me wonder why this hosta is not eat up with damage like every other one. Like, see, this one is, but this one wasn't here. I just moved it here. And this one in this container, that's another hosta. These right here are other hostas. None of these are eat up with that, like that yellow leaf curl, which I've always suspected was heat or sun damage. And it makes me wonder if where I have them, other than this spot here, like they're just getting too much sun. And maybe that's because the ones in front of our front porch, they do that. I showed you in the very beginning of the video. They do that every year, this time of year. And they face east, so they only get rising sun. And there are huge oak trees across the road from our house, directly across the road. So they, like, depending on where the sun is, they only get direct sunlight for, like, I don't know, maybe 4 hours. Maybe that's just too much for them. I don't know. But I hate that they have this ugly phase every year because it makes the front landscape bed look ugly. Another thing I wanted to mention is soon I'm going to start doing our fall stuff, our fall swap. Because in, like, I don't know, less than a week, it's going to be September. And for the longest time, I always treated August like the start of fall because kids always went back to school and stuff. But, like, the actual first day of fall is not in August. And so, anything I can do to prolong the feeling of summer, I'm going to do. So, last couple of years, I've been trying to kind of recondition myself to believing that fall doesn't actually start until September, October. So that's when I put out my fall decor. So I'm going to be redoing my porch, refreshing my porch with my fall decor. But another thing I'm going to be doing is changing out my hanging pots on the front porch for fall themed annuals to get us through until frost. Because those petunias in there are really struggling anyway. And then, oh, the log bed, the flower log bed over in our front yard. It has a couple of summer annuals in it, and they really struggle this time of year as well. It's got actually 4 perennials in it that I'm going to pull out and plant in the landscape. But I need to get some new annuals for that for fall. And I'm probably, instead of going like the orange route for that bed, I'm probably going to do like the burgundy fall vibe, because that can transition us into winter decor. Like when we go from, you know, like after Thanksgiving, we switch everything from fall to Christmas decor. And last year I did fake plants in the log bed that were like evergreens and like red, those red Christmas flowers. I can't remember what they're called. And I'll probably do that again this year, but anyways, so we'll just see. So if you stayed here to the end, thank you. I wanted to share some news with you guys. I traded in my truck I'd had for 3.5 years, which was my dream truck at the time when I got it. It was amazing. I had a Ford Expedition King Ranch Edition, so it was like all leather. It had all the high-tech features and stuff at the time that it was made, but it was older. It was a 2010, and I had put 216,000 miles on that. Now, granted, it had probably, I think it was under 100,000 miles when I got it, but we love road trips, so I put a lot of miles on it. And I was just ready to get something smaller that got better gas mileage, because 90% of the time I'm driving alone, and in the Expedition I was getting 16 miles per gallon. And I think I mentioned in a previous video that I was looking into Audi. So my process was, I'd always wanted an Audi car. I began researching the mid-size SUVs, and I found the Audi Q7 had the 3rd row seat. Researched that, went and test drove one. And then I went and test drove a Cadillac XTS, which also has the 3rd row. And in watching some review videos of the Cadillac, I saw them compare the Cadillac to a Kia Telluride. And I was like, well, what's that? Honestly, you guys, I could say I'd heard of it, but I couldn't even picture it in my mind. So my husband and I did our research, and we found out that they are very closely comparable feature-wise. And we've actually found one pretty close to us, 45 minutes away. For the Audi and the Cadillac, you guys, I had to drive over an hour to go test drive them because they're just not close by. Went and found the Telluride and drove it. And this was before I drove the Cadillac. So I was really thinking, there's no way this could compare to a Cadillac. I liked it. I was impressed. Really loved the way that it drove. It drove really sporty like the Audi. And then I went and drove the Cadillac a few days later and was really disappointed in how it drove, because it did not feel sporty at all. And I was just like, not impressed. So then I came back to the Telluride, and that's what we ended up buying. So I went from a 2020 Ford Expedition to, or a 2010 Ford Expedition to a 2020 Kia Telluride. And she is beautiful. Oh my goodness. I love it. I really love the front. I think it's smexy. It's like, ooh, she feisty. She's square and like beefy and sporty. Love it. But what I love the most about it is not only all of the like high-tech features that it has tons of airbags. It drives like a car, okay? It drives like a sporty car, and it has the third row seat. So it's, again, it's a little dirty. We took it on a day-long day trip yesterday. But it is so nice. Oh my goodness. It's got all these different drive modes that you can turn down here. So like eco helps you get better gas. Sport mode, as you're driving, it shifts through the gears really fast like a sports car. And it is so freaking fun. It's all-wheel drive and I can do burnouts, which is fun when the time calls for it. It's got this big huge screen here, like infotainment thing where you can do all sorts of cool stuff. But what really sold us on it was the ability to have that third row for when we do need it, because the majority of the time we're just gonna have this, like all this, look at all this disheveled just because the kids were in here all day yesterday. The majority of time we'll just have this, and our youngest, who's 7, just recently graduated from having to have like a booster seat, so she can just, you know, sit wherever now. But I like this. You push this button and the whole thing just moves up for you. There's a step here. Great, kids. Should have filmed this before our trip, but whatever. Anyways, and then here's the third row. The thing is the Audi Q7 third row did not have any AC vents, you guys. So like no AC vents. That alone made me take it off my list because that's stupid. I mean, who's going to put their kid back here with no AC vents? And then the thing that this car and Cadillac both had was it has USB plugs on both sides for all the kids back here in the back. It's got 2 cup holders and a cubby there. 2 cup holders and a cubby there. They've got their USB thing. Okay, we push this back. That's how far back that actually goes. It was just open from when everyone was getting out the other day. And then the kids sitting here, they've got a USB plug there and a little hook to wrap their cord around, so it's not dangling. So I love it. You guys, I'm so like in love with this truck. And it's green. Like when we first saw it, we went to test drive it just because it was what we were looking at, not because of the color or anything. Like I test drove a lot of colors that I did not like and would not ever buy, just because they were the color, or they were the vehicle I was looking at. So this is how much room it's got in the back when the seats are up. And these are also adjustable. Like you can, when I pull this cord here, you can actually recline these seats too, back just enough to where they won't, well, they won't hit the window. But although this one doesn't have like a button like my last vehicle did, you can just pull it and it puts the headrest down, which I love. And then you've got it all opened up, which this is how it will be the majority of the time. And then it's got this liner. You just throw that up there over that. Okay. And then this is my grocery shopping thing, which I can't remember where my husband put this. I don't remember. It took me forever. I was looking at this net thing, trying to figure out how in the world. My husband had that like hooked on something, but I don't know what it is. But anyways, so this is how roomy it is in the back with the seats down, which is great. Take this crap in that they left in here. But anyways, so very nice and roomy. My oldest son, he went with us yesterday. He's about to be 19 and he is 6'2", and he was very comfortable, no problems. So of course I'm in love with it. I'm gonna have to get the vacuum because that is bothering me that they made such a mess in there just with our feet. But you know, you go for a hike, you get crap all over your shoes and whatever, so that's just part of it. Oh, so it has all the driving assist features where it will let you know if someone's in your blind spot and whatever. I turned all that off because that's very annoying. I had a rental car one time that I drove that had that. It's very distracting. It lights up a light in your side mirror, which you catch out of your peripheral vision, and it's distracting. But it also has this feature of like something assist when you're using cruise control, which is very creepy because what it does is like you set your cruise control and it keeps your vehicle between the white and the yellow line no matter what you do. So it's driving itself. That is a little beyond the scope of what I was looking for. I've not found how to turn that off yet, so I've got some research to do because it's annoying and I love cruise control. But, you know, obviously I had my hands on the wheel and you could feel the wheel pull in another direction because it thought I was too close to the yellow line. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. So there's that. But anyways, I love that it's got the built-in Wi-Fi. It's got a wireless charger in the console for phones. And that's amazing. And it's just all the high-tech stuff. The navigation works great. We used it yesterday just playing with it, even though we knew where we were going. And it's a lot of fun. So really proud of myself. Oh, and what I was saying about that color is it's actually called something moss, like aged moss or something. So I don't know if you can tell, but when I put this on Facebook for family and friends, I was like, you know, I feel like the color is really mysterious. Is it dark gray? Is it brown? Is it green? It really depends on the lighting and how clean it is, what it's going to look like. And so I love it. I didn't want anything dark because we live on a dirt road, and of course it's going to be dirty, but you know, this was the one that was available. I drove it. I fell in love with it. I could afford it. Everything else worked out great. Just, and I didn't want to go white again because I'd had a white vehicle for a while. But you can see how dirty it looks. Don't love that. And I've driven so slow on dirt roads. I'm probably just going to have to wash it weekly, you guys. I don't like dirty vehicles. And so I had, in anticipation of getting a new vehicle, because I've been researching this for weeks, I actually bought like a better vehicle washing kit and have, you know, like big long handled sponges and things and different nifty features to make it easier to wash a vehicle. And if you remember before, I had stickers on my back glass and I had like my initials and everything. I will eventually be replacing or doing like a new vinyl situation, but I don't know what that's going to be yet. But I'm looking forward to that. Right now it's got the name of the dealer right here and right there. I will be taking that off. No need to do free advertising for you, buddy. I'm just gotta personalize it a bit because that's me. I'm a little extra about everything. So anyways, love that it ended up being the green color because I love green, of course, because I'm a gardener and a nature lover. So I just freaking love it. Anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look around. I'm going to harvest some of these peppers and get this video edited for you guys so that it can be up to date. I hope you guys have a great Monday and a great start to your week. Thank you so much for being here. We love you guys. Mwah.